Hello there, Vlad here. Welcome to my studio. Today we're checking out a Logic project, Logic Synthwave project, something like that. Basically, I've taken Logic Pro's stock sounds the Logic Pro comes with, and then paired it with a couple of free plugins and created a Synthwave song, and we're going to break that down. And this project is also available for you to download, so check out the link in the description if you want to get this and create your own music with this project. Just don't take my music and sell it as your own, otherwise you're free to do whatever you want with all of this. And before I forget, there's a bunch of different ways to support what I do in the description, so please check those out if you so desire, and obviously like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube things, those would be really appreciated. But now let's actually listen to the song. There you go, that was the song, and I usually like to start with drums, so let's start with drums because those are some of the most important elements in the song. I'm going to the Logic, stock instruments, electronic drum kit, and this kit is called Neon. As the name suggests, it's very 80s, I guess. Yeah, let's listen to it soloed out. That would be the drum fill. That's the first verse, I guess. Whoa. And then when we hit the last two repeats of the chord sequence, I'm adding also a little bit of tambourine here as well. And some hand claps. Gotta have those hand claps. But yeah, it's a Neon drum preset, and I think the only thing I did here was kind of going through some of the shaker and snare sounds that are available here and pick the ones that I just enjoyed. Pretty much a stock preset that I'm then sending to a parallel compressor, and I'm using Logic's own Multipressor and just using the punch drums preset to give this a little bit more, punch. Here's the difference what the parallel compressor does. Yeah, just brings the drums a bit more in front and gives them a bit extra oomph. Simple as that, really. Again, a preset and then a preset of the Multipressor, and that's it. And I'm sending like at 100% or like at 0 dB, so equal amount into the parallel compressor as well, and then mixing them by ear. Then there's analog circuits, which I think I use only for the fills. Yes, indeed. I just couldn't find the kind of epic, silly sounding tom sounds from the Neon drum kit, so I just went with this, and it sounds like this. There's a gigantic reverb here as well. Again, first of all, this is still a preset, so I'm doing that. One of the reasons I also decided to have a separate track for the tom fills was because this allows me to send this tom track into bus number 1, which contains one of our two kind of free plugins we are going to use here, and one of them is Valhalla Supermassive. This thing is ridiculously good. It sounds massive, as the name suggests. It's completely free. Links in the description if you want to download it. I have no affiliation with Valhalla DSP, but this plugin is crazy good. and we are using 80s space reverb because obviously 80s. And let's listen just to the soloed out track. It sounds pretty amazing. Yeah, so usually I EQ out a lot of the low end on the reverb and stuff like that, but in this case I kind of left it here because it's toms and they're kind of soloed out in that particular section of the song, so I think it just made sense to keep them there. But yeah, the Valhalla Supermassive makes a gigantic difference. If we solo out the drums, it's a nice sound, but it's nowhere near what it's supposed to be with all the reverb. Yeah, just super fun plugin. Again, free stuff if you already have Logic Pro. Getting all of this doesn't cost you anything. So there's that. Then we go to a few different bass sounds. I'm using 80s pop bass preset here as well. Sounds like this. I don't think I've tweaked the compressor at all here. It's compressing quite a lot, but that's okay. The only real thing I did here was cutting out quite a lot of high end, because take a listen what a difference it makes. I mean, by itself, it actually kind of sounds cooler with all the high end, but because there's a lot of other elements in the song that are also using a lot of that high end spectrum, we just want the bass to be a little bit out of the way. So we have that, but I felt that this bass alone isn't quite enough. Like, it doesn't go low enough, so I also paired it with Deep Synth Bass. This very kind of gritty bass sound, and I'm just using a preset. And I'm pretty sure the only thing that I might have tweaked here was tweaking the glide setting here, which kind of makes sure how fast it goes to the next note. Yeah, so it doesn't do that. I mean, you can use it as an effect if you want, but I didn't feel that suited the song, so I wanted like sharp note changes, so it follows the guitars and everything else that's happening here. But that's an effect as well. If you want to, you can tweak the glide setting, for example. So to quickly recap, here's what we have going on right now. Drums and basses. Okay, so that's a nice foundation for the song. Then we dive to what makes synthwave strings, all kinds of synthesizers as well. First of all, there's a Moonlight Drive preset. Really fun kind of arpeggiator going on. It's pretty wobbly and it just creates this cool stereo image that I really like. Then there's gritty bells, but we are going to skip that for now because it's only at the last 2 repeats of the chord sequence. I think what we absolutely should check next is 80s Wave Synth, and again a preset over here, and this thing is just fantastic. And then here at the beginning of the song, I'm actually doing like a filter sweep, so I'm cutting out some of the high end and kind of bringing it back for this, well, filter sweep effect. Yeah, and then on the 3rd and 4th repeat and until the end of the song, there's another synth called Moonlight Drive. So there's that, and then there's also a Neon Drive synth, but that also kicks in only later in the project. Let's check out the synths that are here at the end of the project as well. So the last 2 chord repeats, or chord sequence repeats, I should say. That, and then we talked about the gritty bells as well. So it's also using the chord sequence as with the other synth tracks, but I set it to an arpeggiator where it kind of plays the different notes in a slightly random order, actually. Like there's a music box setting over here, and it kind of jumps and creates this slight randomness and movement to the whole track, which is really cool, especially at the end of the song. It's like little details here and there. And if we take a listen to all of the synth tracks, we'll start from here. And then a few more tracks kick in. And the last one. Yeah, you cannot really tell all of the details when we go to the last two chord sequences, but all of those things still kind of add layers, and if you start taking any of them out, it just doesn't sound as kind of huge and wide. Huge and wide, kind of the same thing, I guess, but not necessarily. Yeah, it just doesn't sound as big after that. Then there's the lead sound for, I don't know, it's kind of a lead theme, I guess. Space echo bells. Yeah, it just sounds really good. Yeah, really, really nice. And then this track actually has a bunch of real electric guitars going on here, and I recorded these guitars for a video called How to Sound Like Synthwave on Electric Guitar and used few Boss pedals for that. And links to that video here in the cards and in the description as well if you want to check it out. But so that guitar plays that pattern several times, and here at the end I swapped the pattern a little bit. Yeah, again, just to add a bit of kind of excitement and whiz, so it's not exactly the same the whole time. Then there's rhythm guitars over here. Let's listen to them. And these are here just to add a little bit of drive. So they do that a couple of times, and then when we go to the last two chord sequences, they just add more drive to the whole thing. Then there's a lead guitar over here, which you can actually tell even with all the stuff going on. And it's noisy, which I like a lot. Then there's something called chorus riff as well. This is another thing that you kind of can tell, but it's also adding some layers. Yeah, and all the guitars together sound like this. Start from here. I noticed that there's this kind of call and answer type of thing. So the long lead guitar plays, and then the alternate picking rhythm guitar plays, din 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 din, do 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 dun 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 dun. So yeah, classic songwriting traits or something like that. One thing plays something and the second one kind of answers to it. So there's that. And because not everyone is a guitar player, I kind of, just for the sake of it, I kind of replicated all of these guitar tracks with synthesizers. Well, I want to say they're not like 100% there, but they're fairly close. And here's an example. Yeah, I basically again used some presets here from Logic Pro. This is supposed to simulate the rhythm guitar tracks. The sounds aren't exactly the same and could be improved a lot with further tweaking, but they're just there if you want to take those kind of MIDI files and do something else with them if you so desire. So yeah, there's that. And there's one absolutely essential thing that you also need to know about this project and the reason why it sounds like it sounds, and it's the iZotope vinyl, which is a plugin that simulates the vinyl sound. Hence the name, obviously. And this thing is also completely free and it just makes a gigantic difference. And let's just demonstrate it first and then talk about the settings a bit more. As you can tell, it's cutting out some of the low end, kind of also cutting out a little bit of the high end, and I'm using this dust setting which kind of adds some scratches, and as you can actually tell, it's like those scratches are happening all the time. So even like when the track isn't playing, you can kind of hear the scratches, which I kind of like. Fun little detail. I'm adding just a tiny bit of warp. I can demonstrate what that does, but if you use it too much, well, here's what's going to happen. This is an incredibly fun plugin because you can also automate some of these controls, so you can do like cool intros and outros for your songs, like maximize the warp and then bring down all the other way around. Like you can do a lot with it. It's a really cool plugin that way. Scratch adds, well, scratches. Let's quickly listen to that as well. So it kind of makes the whole track almost unlistenable because of the noise. Dust adds dust, so like little crackles and things like that that are going on here. And then there's different presets. There's 30s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 2000s. And then you can also like tweak the you can have like a mechanical noise going on there, like electrical noise, and you can adjust the wear here, and there's like a lo-fi setting here as well, and spin down effect that you can do. Let's try that one. How cool is that? With a free plugin, again, you can automate that and do like an ending for your song or whatever you want to do with that. Just super cool little plugin, and it's available for free. Links below to that in the description as well. And yeah, there you have it. That's the whole Logic project. I had so much fun creating this song, and I'm so going to use a bunch of these Logic sounds for other projects as well, because again, if you have Logic Pro, you have all of this stuff and you're good to go. So yeah, links to everything I mentioned in the description, as are ways to support what I do as well. And if you end up creating a song using this stuff here, hit me up on social media. I would love to check it out. And thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next time.